Ladies and gents, how we doing? Today just a short, straight to the point type of style video looking at my force feedback settings for my wheel. Basically had a fair few comments of late and requesting what my values are of it, and I've referred pretty much all of them back to my previous video, which was back in I don't know, last year or something, a while ago. And I actually watched that video myself and realized I actually changed a few of the values myself, so yeah, not great, not good. So this is a follow-up video to that for anyone who's asked the settings in the last 6 months probably, with all the new flux of subscribers to the channel. Thanks for subscribing, how you doing? Yeah, so basically that's all that is, so nothing crazy. And if you're not into force feedback stuff, I would just skip this video, 100%, it's all good. Anyway, getting into the settings I use, which is, I don't know where I go anymore, game settings. So that's the actual settings I use for the game. If you want to copy into that, I have most of it off. I have anti-lock brake on just on one, but it's up to you if you want to turn it fully off. The rest of it's pretty much off anyway. Preferences, that's what I use for my FOV. A lot of guys say my FOV is massive, which it is, but you got to account for the fact the actual screen itself is size, how it impacts the flow of the visuals you see, so it intensifies it because of the radius of the screen, as well as when you're looking off an angle, you're not getting the dead truest perspective of what I see. So from what I see, from what the camera's seeing, is largely different in terms of just the actual speed differentiation between the two. So that's that anyway. Camera shake, I have a max shake just so it's a bit more visually cool for you guys to watch through shorts and stuff like that, and it feels a bit more immersive when the car's like bumping and jumping and rocking and rolling, so pretty cool. Co-driver, because I used a lot of the ACAT mod these days, which is a rallycross cars that have the 600 horsepower, you come in off the corners a lot faster than you usually would, so I've cranked that right down so I can get 2 to 3 corners ahead to try and keep up with the tracks, because when you actually use those cars in this game, it's wild, so it's a very hard learning curve to get used to it. Stage audio, cockpit wheel, nothing really interesting. HUD settings, I pretty much have it all off anyway, except the rear mirror, but you know, it's more for my content. So anyway, that obviously wasn't the wheel settings that you wanted, was it? So let's get into input, is where you need to go for this one. Scrolling down to your wheel, they should all be individual thing in your how it's inputted. If not, I'd go back and calibrate your wheel handbrake pedals again, just so it's into the game and it's separated, because I don't know, weird stuff does happen, you know, I don't know. Bindings gonna depend on what you use. Obviously it's just dependent to each thing, so nothing crazy with that. Advanced settings, I don't think I've even touched any of these, if I'm honest with you. Nothing interesting really. If you really want to go and fine tune stuff, you could, but I've just gotten used to how it was just out of the box, so plug and play type of thing. Force feedback, this is what we want to get into. Obviously we have it on. If you have it off, you've got a dead wheel, and you know, it's like other things in life. If you've got a bit of a floppy thing, it's not very good, so you want a bit of control. Vibration feedback's obviously on. Self-loading torque, so that is, well, it's at 55. Now the whole thing with me, how it's always been with rally in general from the very first day, was you want light hands on the wheel. That's my whole thing. So light hands, light work type of deal. That's how I run. That's how I'm pretty quick with movements, corrections, save sometimes, catch and releases, flicks, all the crazy crap that you see me do on my shorts and stuff for fun. It's pretty much due to the settings I do. So yeah, anyway, self-loading torque, all that really is how hard the wheel fights back to get to the center, basically. So 55, I'm not really, I don't chase it too hard, you know, I'm pretty happy with how it is. But as an important note, I don't know if I've already said it, but the third-party software on the PC, so this is PC more so than PS5 or Xbox, I crank all that stuff to about 3/4 of the value, and my whole philosophy with that is I think that the game should output the maximum or near maximum force feedback detail to the wheel, and then you would fine tune it from the wheel on. So it's all about 3/4, if I'm honest. Nothing crazy, that's why I didn't even bother. There's nothing weird. So aligning torque's 55. Wheel friction, and just as an extra, while I'm actually editing this in post now, I've noticed I've left out a pretty key point that you guys really should understand in terms of force feedback, because it was a thing I used to get a lot
people asking my settings back in the day. And what it is a lot of people can't really grasp or understand, or just they don't really understand what it is, why I use so much less force feedback in a wheel. Now, I've had guys in the past who have the exact same wheel as me, which is a Thrustmaster T598, and they've all said similar stuff, how it doesn't have um, not a lot of power or not a lot of detail in a wheel. Now, this is true across the board for dependent on your settings, and what that is if you have everything cranked or everything to the same level. So you would notice in my force feedback values, a lot of my stuff is different or offset either way from, say, the medium point, but to the lower scale a lot. What that is with a force feedback wheel is if you have too many inputs coming in at the same exact power, or you've got it cranked across the board because you think that more force feedback is better, what it actually does is muddle up all of the force feedback detail that comes back into your hands. So realistically, what you want to do is you want to tone it all back and just really fine tune those individual force feedback details that come in, so you can really differentiate between what you're actually feeling in the car. You don't want to run it maxed out across the board, because it will just be a really bad experience because you can't differentiate anything that you're feeling. It all feels the same, if that makes sense. Um, Kind of how a Assetto Corsa rally feels right now for a lot of people, for me included. There's no detail in the feedback. You get feedback, but the detail is just not enough to really understand what's going on. So you see a lot of guys who are very jerky. I've seen in the Assetto Corsa rally now. Bit of a hot take. I'm probably gonna cop some shit for it, but I'll just tell you how it is. A lot of that is because they're not really getting an understand or a true feel for the car, because it's just got too much like shit coming into the force feedback itself. So really play with these values, and I'll promise you, you will be a lot faster, a lot more smoother and consistent just by having less force feedback overall, but just fine tune those key points. Anyway, back to the video of me talking.
Wheel friction is how, when you turn the wheel, how grainy or how much. I would probably say grainy, to be honest. Just how much is in between each turn of the wheel. So less is obviously going to be a quicker, whereas more would slow you right down to, crank it around the whole movement, whatever you're trying to do. Tire friction is at 50. All that is literally is when you're going around a corner, when you're holding a line. If you felt that wheel slip out, you would say have a drop in the force feedback. So you'd be holding it. RSM would slip out and it would drop, and then obviously the loss of traction. So you can drive the car by the pants of the seat. Is that even right? I never know, but that's how you would feel it come in, so it would slip out. Suspension's at 60. Honestly, that's, some guys have it way lower than that. I just have it cranked up, so it looks pretty cool in shorts and stuff like that. Less is more with this. If I was going for times, I'd probably crank it down, to be honest with you. But I'm past the time trial days, not into that stuff anymore. Yeah, tire slip, that's regulated by the game. Can't touch that. Collisions at 80. Some guys even pretty much have this off or nearly none. That's where you're going to clip a bank or just have a crash, and the wheel's going to fight you, and obviously tell you that you're a dickhead because you crashed. So it's going to be through the force feedback. Soft lock is where you would turn the game to mine's at 100. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. But say you set your wheel at 360 degrees, it would do a 360 degrees turn, which would be here somewhere, and it would just dead stop the wheel. Because on a direct drive wheel, as you guys know, if you don't know actually, you have limitless spinning, and the whole way that it is stopped is via the soft lock on the motor itself. It determines how many degrees you can have. On a belt driven wheel or even a gear driven wheel, you have just X amount of how much the wheel can turn, and it's regulated by obviously the actual wheel itself. So direct drives rely on the hard stop on the motor. Center force enabled, yeah, you can have that on. All that really is from what I understand, is where you sit there, say you start like that, the wheels around the wrong way, then the game kicks in and all the telemetry activates in the game, where you 3, 2, it just loads in, before the 3, 2, 1 go, just that initial load in, it would go bang, put you back to negative or zero basically, to get you, in the right spot with your hands. In terms of everything else, that's all just basic stuff. Yeah, nothing really interesting going on there, but that's pretty much my settings for that. Audio, yeah, nothing really interesting going on. This is all just dependent per person, per headset, speakers, whatever. That's my updated force feedback for 2026 anyway, so hopefully it helps you. I've had enough questions, and I thought it was just easier then to go and change a whole video or whatever, just to record a new one. So anyway, if you enjoyed this one or it helped you at all, leave a like, it does help. And as always, have a good day, good night, or good afternoon, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.